Good evening, and welcome to the regular Piqua City Commission meeting Tuesday, April 6, 2021. We will begin by starting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, I'll have the clerk call the roll.
Commissioner Hines.
Here.
Mayor Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Grissom.
Here.
Commissioner Pearson.
Here.
Commissioner Foat.
We'll need a motion. He let us know last time that he wasn't going to be here.
I'll make a motion to dismiss Commissioner Folk from today's meeting.
A second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. We will begin with the consent agenda.
We have two items on the consent agenda this evening. We have approval of the minutes from the March 16th, 2021 regular Piqua City Commission meeting. We have resolution number R-30-21, a resolution of appreciation for the public service of Christopher A. Melvin as a city employee.
I have that resolution right here. I'm going to read it. It's a resolution of appreciation for the public service of Christopher A. Melvin as a city employee. Whereas Christopher A. Melvin has retired as wastewater superintendent with the city of Piqua, and whereas his retirement follows over 30 years of faithful and dedicated service to the city, now therefore be it resolved by the Commission of the City of Piqua, Miami County, Ohio, all members elected thereto concurring, that in recognition and appreciation of the public service of Christopher A. Melvin with the city of Piqua, this commission tenders its unanimous and respectful tribute by this resolution, which shall be a matter of public and permanent record. This resolution shall take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest period allowed by law. Thank you, Mr. Melvin. All right. And those two are the only two items on the consent agenda?
That's it.
All right. Any questions from commissioners on the consent agenda? I'll take a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is new business.
First, we have resolution number R-31-21. Amy Havener, the city engineer, will be presenting the next three staff reports.
Thank you. So this legislation would authorize the city to enter into an agreement with DLZ for to finish up our ADA transition plan on behalf of the city of Piqua. In 2018, I came before City Commission for the first two phases, which included everything within the public right-of-way, everything outside of the right-of-way, including all of our public buildings. This third phase will allow us to do our final ADA transition plan. The expenditure we're estimating is $27,500 for this phase. However, the phases leading up to this pushed it over, so that's why we're before you tonight.
Any questions from the commissioners?
So just to understand, originally, it says here budget 50,000, but that was, we're going 27,500 above that for a total of 78.
No, the budget for 2021 for this phase was 50,000. However, we were able to do some of the stuff in-house, so the expenditure will only be 27.5 out of the 50 that we had budgeted.
Okay.
So
That's
it's
what I
not
thought
as
when you
much.
said going over, that's what confused me.
No, our original, our total amount will be 78,000 for all three phases.
Gotcha.
But for this year, we budgeted 50 and the expenditure was only 27.5.
Perfect. Thank you.
Next, we have
Wait a minute, sorry.
I'm so sorry. I stepped ahead.
That's all right. Any questions from the citizens? All right. I'll accept a motion then.
I make a motion, we approve resolution number R-31-21.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of resolution number R-31-21, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. You're up.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right, no
Okay.
problem.
Resolution R-32-21, preliminary legislation with the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, for the Great Miami River Trail Bridge Project.
So as with all of our ODOT-funded, federally funded projects, we come before you with our legislation. This would be the preliminary legislation to enter into an agreement with ODOT for the project. Currently, we are in stage 3 of design, so we're getting close to finalizing the design. I know this project seems like it's been going on for years, because honestly it has. But we're looking at construction in the spring of '23, so we are hopefully seeing the finish line. But this is just a paper trail that ODOT requires us to do, is enter into final or preliminary legislation with them. When we get closer to bidding, I'll be back before you with the final legislation at that point.
Any questions from the commission? Nope. Any questions from the citizens? Okay, then I'll accept the motion.
I make a motion, we approve resolution number R-32-21.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda,
Resolution number R-33-21, preliminary consent legislation with the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, for asphalt concrete overlay on Interstate Route 75.
So this is another ODOT legislation that's required. This one is the work being completed on I-75. It will be the resurfacing from the rest area south of Piqua to our 25A exit. There's no money required of the city of Piqua. It's just because it does touch our corporation limits, they need our approval.
those are the best ones, right? No money?
Yeah, we like those.
We like those too. Any questions from the commission? Any questions from the citizens? I'll entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution R-33-21.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Motion carries. Next on our agenda.
Resolution number R-34-21, a resolution authorizing participation in Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, Cooperative Purchasing Program. Brian Brookhart, Public Works Director, will be presenting the staff report.
Yes, we are requesting authorization to participate in the ODOT Cooperative Purchasing Program. The city must first pass this resolution, then it will be submitted to the ODOT Administrator Office of Contracts for approval. Once approved, all city departments will be able to participate in this program for up to 2 years. Local, county, townships, municipal corporations, Conservancy District, and Parks Districts are able to participate in this program. The Cooperative Purchasing Program will be utilized for purchasing, for example, machinery, materials, supplies, and other articles our departments use that have been competitively bid through ODOT's Cooperative Purchasing Program.
Our purchasing director, what does she think about this program?
Yeah, it is a program that we've utilized before. It's nice because ODOT bids out just about everything that we do and purchase, and it saves us a lot of steps. For example, in purchasing sign blanks, they purchase sign blanks, they purchase a larger quantity than we do, and you will typically get a better price by jumping on their bid purchasing. That's just an example. We'll also utilize it for crack sealing our streets and looking at contractors. They already have approved contractors for that work. They have all the pricing for it. So those are things that we will utilize that for as well.
All right, and this doesn't.
And it doesn't cost us anything to
Another
be part
one.
of this program.
That's great.
Right, 2 home runs. Any questions from the commission? Any question from citizens? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I
I'll
make a
move that
motion.
we adopt resolution R-34-21.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Now, we are at a section called public comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the commission regarding agenda items, issues, or to provide information. Comments are requested to be limited to 5 minutes, and specific questions should be addressed to the city manager's office.
Good evening. My name is Larry Hamilton, and
Your address?
I live at 1104 Maplewood Drive in
That's part
Piqua,
of it.
Ohio.
Yes, sir.
I am a retired teacher at Piqua High School, where I taught Black history, world history, and current events. And I have attempted to persuade community leaders to recognize the importance of an inclusive historical heritage. In doing so, I have acquired and have built, renovated the facility at 655 North Main Street, which is called the Randolph and McCulloch Freedom's Struggle Complex. And at that complex, I want to share with people, make an effort to educate people who are basically ignorant of our history and are inclined to be willing to repeat, even double down in some of the historical things that are taking place within our society today. I have written letters to a number of community leaders in an effort to forego any public discourse when it is possible to engage in private dialogue. I've always done that. I've always taken that tact in attempting to elevate a conversation that is in the best interest of the community of Piqua. I want to continue to do that, but I'm not going to allow people to misrepresent what it is that I'm about. Now, I hope that people aren't going to consider what I suggest as a threat, because civil rights leaders, if you know anything about history at all, civil rights leaders often provoked, antagonized, and came to city leaders with suggestions and even demands. And obviously, if there are no demands made, then there is very little that can be accomplished. Here's the way Frederick Douglass said, "Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are people who want crops without plowing the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the oceans without the roar of its many waters. The struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, or it may be both. But it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. And so I am going to come before you from time to time and share with you my perceptions of what could be better about making Piqua a distinctive community that stands apart from other communities of a similar demographic, shall we say. So it's important that you listen and hear, and if you are unwilling to hear, then there are consequences. And those consequences are going to be paid by all of us within the city of Piqua. I want us to elevate and walk collaboratively with one another towards advancing the interest of Piqua as a desirable community for people to come, to activate the effort to have Piqua as a tourist destination. And to that purpose, I'd like to, invite people to begin the process of stopping in and taking a look at the progress that is being made at 655 North Main Street in Piqua. There's no reason why city leaders can't and shouldn't do that in promoting what is an inclusive historical heritage. And I'm open to any kind of dialogue from whether it's city leaders or people who simply want to kind of jerk my chain, so to speak. So if you want to stop in at 655 North Main Street and have a conversation, I'm willing to sit down and talk with you. And I'll talk with anybody about any subject matter that relates to an inclusive historical heritage that we are going to participate in Piqua, Ohio. This is one of the plaques that's going to be hanging in the Randolph and McCulloch Freedom Struggle Complex. And one of the things that I want to share with people is that a lot of the people in 1846 thought that God was on their side. They thought that God was responsible for developing a caste system, developing a hierarchy, a racial hierarchy. And I'm mighty afraid that we are slipping into that kind of thinking and behavior and conduct in our society today. And many people who are in positions of power and privilege are assisting that. And it's time for people to not only stand up, but speak up. Dr. King,
You're at 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Your time's...
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the overage.
No problem. Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Go ahead, Jay.
Jay Roman, 406 West I. I'm going to pull this up here real fast. I just wanted to talk about the Be the Change voter drive that we're putting together for officially June 12th of this year, this summer, downtown at the gazebo right across the street. First and foremost, thank God for the First Amendment because it saved us. So let's just go ahead and throw that one out there. But the main purpose of this, as I talked about before, of this voter drive is to get people involved, not only in Piqua, but in Miami County as far as voting goes. And in that endeavor, I was contacted by somebody by the name of Kane Feltner, and he presented me some information about Piqua. Kane is actually based out of Troy, but he's doing a lot of work as far as trying to figure out the voting ins and outs of this entire area. And he sent me some information about Piqua's voting numbers that I thought was interesting. And kind of goes to what Mr. Hamilton was saying as far as getting involved and in the community and getting the community together. When it comes to the total overall registered voters, and this is from the Board of Elections, the overall total voters in the city of Piqua, there are 46.94% of people that are not registered to vote. Out of that 100% whole of the people that are registered to vote in Piqua, 23.8% of registered voters didn't show up for last election. And this is supposedly one of the most hottest elections, at least in my lifetime, and a quarter of our registered voters did not show up. So the first stat alone by itself is pretty alarming, that half of our population almost is not registered to vote. Even more so that a quarter of those who are so disenfranchised in what's going on with the community, they didn't show up. Now, he had some more information on the similarities of those numbers in the surrounding area. I was not interested in finding them out, just because it's none of my business, but even more so, Piqua needs to be the focus. So I don't know what those contrasts are. Maybe it is similar. Surprisingly, he did tell me that Tip City actually has the most voter turnout in the entire county, which is, can't believe that. It might have something to do with population, who knows?
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you hear those stats, you think of, 21,000 people in the city of
Yeah.
Piqua, and 11,000 aren't even registered. That's pretty insane. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing this voter drive. We've got a great group of girls that are helping out with this. We've got a lot of things coming up the pipe. Actually, today we were able to announce that a food truck, I think it's called Barrera. I can't pronounce it. I know I should because they're tacos and I'm Hispanic.
I saw that.
I don't know
yeah.
how to pronounce it, but it's something. Actually, after we posted it, someone here locally messaged me like within 5 minutes. They were like, "I can't believe you got this, guys! This is so awesome!" So that's just announcement number one for the day. We've got a bunch of sponsors already lined up for this event. I do want people to understand that this is going to be more than us just standing on a corner with a registration sheet. We're actually going to do an event. You know, I'm a promoter. This is going to be fun. This is going to be something that I'm going to be able to hang my hat on, and so are the other people that are involved with this. I think by the end of it, we're putting in a lot of work with this.
there a
lot
date
of different
for this?
things. It is. It's called Be the Change Voter Drive. So we got that based off of Gandhi's quote of "Be the change you want to see of the world." We got into really, wanted to keep it simple, and I think that's a good message, especially again, as Mr. Hamilton was saying, change is needed more than ever right now.
So
and
let
especially
me
in
ask you this then.
Sure.
Could you have one of your events at Mr. Hamilton's place incorporating the Randolph McCullough Center?
On that,
location?
we are actually talking about making this kind of an annual thing, if not multi-annual between cities. Right now, the very first one is the focus.
first one?
But after that,
He's right
absolutely.
there. Ask him.
Absolutely. We would
Talk
love to
to
do
him.
something like that. So once we get
Utilize
this
his
first
place.
one in and then, kind of get the kinks out, the first
that would
show is
be
always the
fine.
hardest, I guess you could say. But yeah.
Historically, this would address a few issues
Yeah.
that the Randolph slaves encountered, and bringing it forward to the present day, we get to utilize his center as well.
Absolutely, and I'm sure all the other ladies involved in this would love to do something like that. So, Mr. Hamilton, if that's something you'd be okay with, maybe in a couple months after the fact, set something up. That'd be great. Absolutely. But other than that, that's all I got. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening, sir.
Jim Odot, Director of the Public Library. I want to thank the Commissioner for the nice weather.
Had nothing to do with it, I
Oh,
wish.
I don't know. I'm here to just talk very briefly about the May 4th Library Levy. This will be our third one. And it's a 1.3 mil renewal with a 0.5 additional, half a mil additional for general library operations. We have been asked several times, is this 0.5 to build a new library? Wow, if we could build a new library for 0.5 mil, wow, that'd be great, but no.
Operations, right.
Totally operation, no capital. It's to increase millage to cover the inflation, general costs. We've stayed at the same level for 10 years, and as you all know, costs go up. And our funding has not. The total 1.8 mil would cost the owner of a $100,000 house $57.31. That would be an addition to what they're paying now of $17.50, or a cup of coffee for a month. I mean, if you're getting a big coffee.
I can handle that.
There you go. The library offers everything free. All services, programs, meeting, books, audio visuals, it's free. I use 2019 as our figures because it's the last normal year we've had.
Yeah.
We had over 100,000 patrons visit the library. They checked out 110,000 items, including 27,000 children's items. We serve our community. We have had 12,000 computer users connected with state, area job sites, unemployment services, and keep in mind, a lot of state services, you got to use your computer. You can't do it by snail mail. And there is still an electronic divide. Computers cost money, software costs money,
Yep.
connections cost money. Come to the library. It's free. In fact, we'll even train you on it. So, over 12,000 people attended 709 programs. We offer, you name a program. Chris, if you want to learn how to knit,
I do.
See?
I know how to macrame.
well, see, that's close. Not exact, but it's close.
Yeah.
So, from that to computer training, just about anything you can think of, we have it available there. And the library does voter registration.
There we go.
We're open,
I like that.
yeah, it's 57 hours a week, 2,900 hours a year. This is a very ecumenical, I took it easy.
Yeah.
Economical levy. It will help our
Yeah.
community. It saves something that's very important. A community without a library is not a place you want to be.
No, you're right.
If you want democracy, you want information, and that's what we have. We have information. So I just want to let everyone know it's there, May 4th. Please get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I say something? I think about our library. My son is now a junior in high school, and I can remember the Lego Club and visiting down in the children's department, as many people have in our community, and the free and the number of books that we have checked out as a family, I can't even begin to imagine. But I also know back, I think it was 2009, 2010, when we started the cold shelter network here in the community to address the homeless in our community and our churches. We opened up, and the church that I was pastoring opened up one night a week along with other churches to allow people to have a warm place to go. One of the places that they went during the day, we would typically give them a gift card to go to Tim Hortons or something like that until the library opened, as a place that they could sit, they could have a warm place to be. If they were looking for jobs, I mean, that type of thing, you're right. I mean, it is a place that for people who may not have access at home, they have access at the library. And the number of people that hang out outside the library for the free internet is needed. And so it's so much more than just checking out books. It really is a community center. And, and I think it makes our community a better place by having a good library and the different things that are offered there. So I just know that our family really enjoys the library and has gotten a lot of good use out of it. So
Thank you for the information on the library level.
yeah.
Anybody else? Any other citizen? All right, next online then would be the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. So I have no responses to public comment from last meeting, so I'll move forward with just a follow-up on what we discussed last meeting about the Main Street issues with the island and the planters and whatnot. And so what we had landed on after the Transportation Committee Public Works had set up a demo of what that was going to look like with the delineators. They went down and made some fine-tuned adjustments, and so we got the quotes back, and Brian Brookhart will be making the order this week for that material. The material cost is about $2,300. There's about $650 of labor that will go into it. Go ahead and put those delineators up. The nice part is it's a temporary solution until we have a capital program or a capital project that'll be on the FY '22 budget request. And so once that project does get moved forward, we take the materials down, they can be reused again. So we're really only looking at spending about $700 in total between labor and material to provide an interim solution. So it's cost effective, and we'll get to kind of dry run it before we look at a capital improvement.
Well, I noticed today that we're a little lopsided. There are 3 planters on one side and 1 on another, and I guess another one got hit pretty good today. So Brian Quinter with his cameras caught it, and nice red Jeep, looked pretty new. Smacked the crap out of it and tore it up. I drove by it and it's destroyed. You guys picked it up, I guess. So.
Yeah, Brian's shaking his head yes, so I'll
Yep,
take
it's
that as
gone.
confirmation.
So will they be replaced until you get?
Yes, sir.
a
So
temporary
we
fix?
have some used planters in stock that we'll be taking down there, and again, just so that there's some, I guess, equal planters on each side of the street. But again, the whole intent was to slow traffic down.
Yes.
And to also provide a refuge for the pedestrians. So with that in mind, once he gets the material in, I would say within the next couple of weeks, we should see them out there putting those up.
Great.
Last on my list for the day, I have Director Kevin Craney here. He's the Utility Director. We've celebrated our 3rd month here together. We started on the same day. And I asked him to come this evening and speak to some of the changes that he's made in the last 3 months. And so he's going to provide a report. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a PowerPoint to go along with this, so hopefully
Okay.
get this to work here. Yep, it's working, good. So, the Piqua Utilities Department. And let me preface all of this by, in my 3 months here, I've gotten a couple social media requests and slams, I would say, of why our rates are so high and what are you guys doing out there and stuff like that. And I'm sure you get way more than I do.
Oh, yes.
So here's a quick couple minute brief on some of that and some of the reasons why and some of the things we're doing to keep them in line going forward. So Piqua has 3-tiered rates: water rates, sewer rates, and stormwater rates. Really going to focus on the water and sewer rates today. And water rates there's a base fee, and then they're based on your usage. And then the sewer rates are based off of your usage from the water rates. So that's kind of a 30,000-foot overview of where the rates come from. Industrial, larger commercial, you build at a little slightly different rate. They have larger usages, and so it's not calculated the same way as a resident, but all the stuff is on the website on how your bills are calculated. So I walked into a good situation. Everything is new in Piqua.
Yeah, it is.
And plain and bluntly, that is the reason why rates are high right now. Looking back at some of the historical Oakwood study comes out every year for all of Southwest Ohio, and I remember back when I was starting in the industry, 2005, I went to Mason's plant. It was brand new. They were the highest rates for a while. 2010, everything in Greene County was new. They were the highest rates for a while. And then when you look at those rates, Yellow Springs, they've done everything new. West Alexandria. So a lot of the cities you see at the high end, it's because everything is new. This is a review of some of the projects we've done over the last few years. Brand new wastewater treatment plant. Probably 95% of the plant is new. All the lift stations, 6 lift stations feeding that system, new or rehabbed, new communications, new electronics. New water plant in a new place, that makes it more expensive. Moving the 1925 plant up the road a mile, and it's kind of state of the art. It's gonna be around a long time, and it produces really good water. Along with that, the large transmission mains feeding that plant and going out of that plant, and then the new water tower down on the south end of town. So that's a lot. Most cities don't encounter all of that within a couple years. So now we have all this new stuff. It's my job and my employees' job is to run this effectively, efficiently, keep those rates in check. So we'll go do a little historical here. So before the construction, before the plants went in, as you can see, no debt, 2016. This is the water budget, it's blue. Afterwards, $2.86 million a year in debt. So that's a large amount of debt. And you can see that the rates, the revenue, which correlates to rates, went up about 46% over 5 years. That's a pretty steep increase, but You know, as you can see, the O&M costs, O&M, that's operations, maintenance, that's salary, labor, chemicals, electricity, everything it takes to run the facility besides debt, basically. That's only gone up about 25% over 5 years. Kind of in line with inflation, a couple % a year. New facilities usually cost a little more to run until you figure them out. So that's kind of stayed in line, but that's the area where we can do the biggest, that's the area where we can keep costs down. We'll go to the sewer side here real quick. Sewer side 5 years ago just had the debt on the EQ basin, and then it has only gone up about 15% on its O&M budget, but its rates have gone up a lot to cover the cost of all the new facility. So. So what can we do? That O&M, that operations and maintenance, it's a little small up there, but there are 4 components, major components. You have staffing, energy, fleet, and chemicals. So staffing, in the last year, in the last couple months, actually, we've eliminated 2 of the non-bargaining positions. At each plant, we had a superintendent and assistant superintendent. We felt that during the construction, it was probably warranted to have those 2 positions, and now after the construction, when we're just running the facilities, we have not refilled the assistant superintendents. So the assistant superintendents have moved up to superintendents, and we have no plan in the near future or any future to fill those positions.
They were eliminated through attrition?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's Chris Melvin, who you mentioned earlier. He was one of them. And then at the water plant, Don Freisler, he has become a contract operator for his Class 4 license, and he's working 20 hours a week as a private consultant.
Just
Nice.
hanging in there.
Yeah, he's hanging in there.
And then also, we did get rid of 1 administrative assistant at the water treatment plant, and the lady Maria, she is taking care of all 4 utilities right now, doing a great job. So, so that equates to about $258,000 a year going forward. Energy, we're entering into here in the near future, demand response. That's basically us using our generator during the peak days over the summer. Hopefully, we could keep doing that in the future. It changes each year what it's worth, anywhere from maybe $20,000 to $30,000 a year, depending on the capacity charges over time. We've really been studying when we're using our energy. When you use your energy is just as important as how much you use. Sure. So we found a few things out at the wastewater plant already in the first couple months that we were doing some preventive maintenance that was spiking us for the month. So we started doing that before 8 a.m. Those spikes went away. So the next slide I'll show you some of the savings there. But so this is big, you know, and if we start doing this at all the facilities, water plant, wastewater plant, I estimated maybe $75,000 a year we could save on this. So, but it takes some work, and it takes the guys getting involved every day. Every decision you make has to be, how do I do this with less energy? Vehicles, we had a lot of vehicles. We had a huge fleet. We weren't sharing between the departments. So we'd have a lot of vehicles specialized to use a couple times a year, and then the other department had to use a couple times a year. So we have we're all treating the whole fleet as one.
Great.
So we hopefully get rid of a couple vehicles here over the years and not have to purchase as many going forward. And then we've entered into some bulk purchasing, the plant's automation. We started tracking some of our chemical usages, electrical usages, polymer usages, and we're hoping to see some improvements there. So one specific example here, this is this is going back to the wastewater plant open. That green line on the left over there, that's last January, February, March. You can see how high it was. That's about pushing $30,000 a month. If you look over to the right, that's January of this year. We're down about $5,000 or $6,000 per month at the wastewater plant. People, really being conscious and understanding the new equipment, what needs to be on, when it needs to be on. So I expect that trend on the right-hand side to be our new permanent baseline, and we go from there and try to get more efficient. So then just a kind of a recap of what our goals are. As a department, it all comes down to, the regulatory needs and the customer needs. When you look at it as our staffing levels, we want to use the least amount of people to meet regulatory and meet our customer needs. Get people the water, get rid of the wastewater, take care of the stormwater. Future technology is great, but if it doesn't help you with your customer needs or regulatory, it may just be fancy window dressing, and we may have to look at any technologies in the future. Will they really help us be more efficient? I mentioned vehicles, and then I'm also with the energy and chemical usage. So it's just kind of where we're going and what I've observed the first few months and how we're looking to run this place into the future. And like I said, I'm very thankful we have all new facilities. Now we got to learn how to run them efficient and effectively.
Well,
We will do that.
well, I appreciate your update, and you've hit the ground running, and you're off to a great start. I have a question for you. When you talk about sharing vehicles, I think that's great because it reduces the cost, but the usage of the vehicles, since you're sharing them between departments, increases. Do maintenance costs go up with that, of the vehicles that are being shared?
They can go up if, depending what they're used for. The vehicles I'm talking about are more of.
Ones that sit around?
The ones that sit around. I mean, I have a vehicle available to me. I come up to this building every other day or go out to the plant once a day. So I'm driving 7 miles a day.
Sure.
That vehicle is going to last forever.
Exactly.
We don't need a new one. We could drive that. So we have a lot of vehicles like that around that. Those are the ones we're trying to reuse. When vehicles that are heavy use are getting wore down, we'll slide those ones that aren't getting used into that position instead of replacing that number of the fleet. So our fleet was pushing 30 for 32 employees.
Gee.
That's a lot. So we're trying to get that down about 25-ish and find a good working number there.
Everybody had a vehicle. Okay. Well, appreciate it. Anything
I
else?
have one question, if you don't mind. Talking about the utility rates in new facilities in different areas and how that compares, and obviously having a new facility is going to have costs associated with it. I know when I did the tour out there, it talked about we had a large capacity to add on as needed too. So if we bring in additional residents or businesses, we can support that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
We have so much capacity on the water side and the wastewater side. I mean, we could, I won't say double our customer base, but it could be close. They have been designed really oversized, and they are ready for growth.
Which is awesome and perfect. With that, is there like a direct relationship to cost associated with how much water that you're processing? So, or if you have more quantity of consumers, will that help reduce the amount of rates?
It will actually, it won't, if you have double your customers, it won't cost twice as much to run the facility. There's a economy of scale. So you have a base cost just to turn the place on, and then adding more volume, either going out in clean water or being treated in wastewater, it doesn't take that up a percentage. It won't go up as much. Pumping water is almost one of the cheaper parts of it. It's a lot of the chemicals, the energy, the blowers, the aeration, which you would ramp those up a little bit to treat more wastewater, but you wouldn't double your air.
Understood. And that's what I was wondering. So effectively to help improve our population growth and could help drive some of those costs down overall, sharing those costs.
All the waste you can get to us and all the water you want, we can make, and it would help drive down costs, definitely.
Perfect. Thank you.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from you, city manager?
Just lastly, to further discuss the fleet, and we are looking at that across all the departments and Public Works, and Brian and I have had a lot of conversations about, our equipment in that arena and what the best use is for the equipment. We're also looking at the small fleet and some leasing options, and so hopefully this fall we'll have a program that will speak more to our needs. We're able on state contract to buy vehicles at a very low cost. We operate them very lightly, and so they can be turned over essentially for a very low use fee if you look at it that way. So setting up that business model, we'll do a pilot and we'll have that in front of you probably by September.
I appreciate it. I knew that, and I wanted him to accentuate it. He did. I wanted you to talk about it because nobody knows unless we talk about the good works that we do. And you've planned ahead already, so we appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That's in my report.
All right. All right, then how about commissioner comments? Let's start with Commissioner Pearson.
Well, in an effort to be more transparent, our commissioners and mayor are planning an open forum for the months of May, June, July, and August. And what that means is that all 5 of us will be meeting once a month at the gazebo area in our downtown, weather permitting, at 7 p.m. on Wednesday evenings for an hour or an hour and a half. we would like to take questions. We want to solve problems. We want to let our citizens be informed about what's going on in our city. So watch social media and the Piqua website for all the details. But the first one is going to be May 20th at 7 p.m. at the gazebo. And I said weather permitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know.
Also, to piggyback Jim Oda's comment, this is National Library Week, so everybody be sure to check out all the activities going on at our wonderful library. I know that there was a great book sale going on. There's a great staff there, so check them out. Also, one other thing, and that's coming up on Memorial Day. It's a Sam Pearson 5K run walk, and mark your calendar. It's Memorial Day. It's at 7 a.m. at CrossFit, which is a brand new workout facility, and it's just on Bridge and Main Street, I believe. And that's going to be Memorial Day, 7 a.m. The run walk will be on the bike path, and it will be a cost of $25, and that will get you a T-shirt as well. But the purpose of this is to provide scholarship money for our high school students at Piqua Central. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Grissom?
Thanks. First, just like to thank Chris Melvin for his years of service, over 30 years. That's phenomenal. Thank you for all that you do. Appreciate the tour facilities after they're completed, seeing the new state of art. It is pretty impressive. Yep. I don't have too much to update on tonight. Still looking into some of the hot topics that we discussed last time, medical marijuana dispensary, utilities, still focusing on those, and our website, transparency, a lot of those issues. So hopefully I'll have something here, more information in the next meeting.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Hines?
Yeah, I also want to congratulate Chris on his retirement. 30 years is a long time to be in one place, and we are very fortunate that he was here and able to especially walk through the wastewater treatment plant renovations and all that has happened. And now you are able to come in and carry us on into the future. So thank you for very much for your report. I also just want to, we have had some really nice weather these past few days. It is, I think, knock on wood, that we spring has sprung, and the snow and et cetera is behind us. So I just want to remind our citizens, we live in a beautiful community, and we are so fortunate that we have the bike path, we have the Buckeye Trail, especially out behind Johnston Farm, that you can hike on. It also comes straight through on our path system as well. We have the river. I mean, we have so many places right here in our community that we can get out, enjoy the beautiful weather, and get active. So I just want to remind our citizens that we don't have to go very far to get outside and really take advantage of the beauty in our city. But I also want to remind us to be aware of bicycles. May is National Bike Month, and we'll hear more about that as we move into May. And Bike Piqua, that I'm part of, we have been talking about that, and typically we would be working with kids in the schools about safety and those types of things. COVID has kind of halted some of that this year, but Bike Piqua is still active out there trying to remind our community and our citizens to keep your eyes open. As I was coming in this evening, I had 3 bikes that young boys that just went right in front of me, didn't even stop at the stop sign. So, unfortunately, sometimes they're so excited they're not paying attention, but I just want to encourage our citizens to keep our eyes open for bikes, kids on bikes, and also just out in general as we kind of make our way through the community. So, it's a beautiful time of year, so get outside and enjoy the beautiful city that we live in. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And for my report, first, foremost, I'd like to also piggyback on everybody that's congratulated Chris Melvin. Chris and I go way back, and I lived across the street from his wife, and now I see his kids and grandkids from time to time, and he was a hard worker for the city, and we appreciate everything that he's done. Next, I want to thank everybody that came up and spoke. please consider the library levy. I mean, I know for those people who own a home, he pretty much said it was what, $70-some total for the year on $100,000. Consider that. I love having our library. I remember being a kid and going to the library. I've taken my kids, all of them, all 5 of them there. They did summer reading programs. It's a valuable resource and a good tool. I want people to go to Jay's event. I mean, voter registrations, if you're not, and there's a lot of people in town that aren't registered to vote, if you're not registered to vote, come to the event. I'll be down there. I'll hang out and, try and get as many people out there as we can. We want more people registered to vote so that they're voting. And with Mr. Hamilton, he's making a very valid point. I've been by his place. He's got a good vision for it. I want people to go and support the Randolph McCullough Museum. A lot of people out there may know little, but they need to know more. It is on social media. We will put it out on our website, the City of Picklow's website. We would like to promote and encourage all people to participate, assist in whatever ways he would need you. Just contact him. He's pretty open to that. And we want people to invest in their historical, in the history of Piqua. And the Randolph McCullough place talks about the history of Piqua. It's a valuable resource, and we'd want people to participate in it. And with that said, just be careful out there with warm weather. Accidents tend to increase with warmer weather because more people are out and about. So be careful driving, riding your bikes, like Commissioner Hines said, and motorcycles. Motorcycles are coming out and about, so please be careful. I am a motorcycle rider. Just watch out for us. So with that said, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.